Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov recently detailed a specific method of extortion used at the highest levels of global diplomacy. He explicitly accused the United States of blackmailing United Nations diplomats to secure favorable votes. The mechanism is precise. Before a critical vote, American officials allegedly contact opposing diplomats with a specific threat. Vote in favor of the U.S. position, or the visas of your children currently studying in America will be revoked. Modern leverage is built out of student visas and property titles, creating a web of familial pressure that traditional military defenses aren't designed to see. If a superpower can successfully leverage a diplomat's child to flip a United Nations vote, they will use that exact same pressure point to manipulate a rival nation's military maneuvers or extract concessions in a trade deal. The Chinese government has a formal classification for this specific vulnerability. They call them luoguan, or naked officials, bureaucrats whose spouses or children reside permanently outside the country. In 2014, Beijing launched an audit of its own ranks, identifying over 1,000 naked officials. They ordered the officials to bring their families back to China. Over 800 who refused were systematically demoted and stripped of their authority. By 2024, the tolerance for this vulnerability dropped further. 20 high-ranking figures, including central bank governors and the vice mayor of Shanghai, were stripped of their roles and removed from the party specifically because their children lived abroad. While a major rival superpower identifies and patches this security flaw, the highest levels of the Indian government have ignored the exact same vulnerability within their own ranks. Protecting sensitive state intelligence requires ensuring the people holding those secrets cannot be blackmailed. Rival nations recognize this reality, yet India's leadership operates as if the threat is non-existent. When a foreign intelligence agency maps the weaknesses of a target government, they don't start with military bases. They locate where the cabinet minister's children study, where they work, and where they hold their assets. Look at India's Commerce Minister and Chief Trade Negotiator, Piyush Goyal. His children hold degrees from Harvard, and they operate an investment firm with offices in both Mumbai and New York. Goyal is tasked with negotiating trade deals with the United States. That job requires the ability to walk away from the table. It is difficult to maintain objective leverage when the opposing government has regulatory control over your family's primary financial and educational hub. The footprint extends directly into the intelligence apparatus. The son of India's National Security Advisor, Ajit Doval, is a British citizen who operates a hedge fund out of the Cayman Islands. The individuals entrusted with guarding the country's physical and economic borders are personally anchored in the very nations they are meant to defend against. Foreign familial ties cross every party line in Indian politics. It is a standard feature of the entire political elite. Top opposition figures share this global footprint. Rahul Gandhi holds degrees from Harvard and Cambridge, while leaders like Shashi Tharoor and P. Chidambaram have deep familial and financial ties to prestigious Western institutions. When decision-makers consistently export their own families for better education and safer financial harbors, they lose all personal stake in the success of the domestic systems they manage. When elite children attend universities in Massachusetts or London, the local reality of paper leaks, seat shortages, and crumbling infrastructure becomes someone else's problem. A leadership class entirely insulated from the physical failures of its own public infrastructure has no personal incentive to fix it. A sovereign nation cannot secure its borders by relying on the theoretical patriotism of its politicians. It requires rigid, structural guardrails. The United States enforces a strict security clearance process for its senior officials. They audit foreign ties, marriages to non-citizens, and offshore bank accounts before granting access to sensitive data. To patch this exploit, India needs a comprehensive disclosure law. First, mandatory declaration of immediate family citizenships, residences, and universities. Second, disqualification from defense, intelligence, or external affairs portfolios if family holds foreign citizenship. Third, mandatory appointment cancellation for conflicting foreign business interests. True national security means subjecting the people who run the government to the exact same vulnerability testing as the military. Nation first should be a rigid, legal prerequisite for holding political power, not just a campaign slogan used to shame citizens. Demanding the right to steer the fate of 1 billion people requires sacrifice. It requires anchoring your own family's financial and educational fate directly to the domestic soil you claim to serve. Until a country's leaders are forced to share the exact same risks and systemic realities as its citizens, the entire nation remains compromised from the inside out.